Welcome yogis, welcome to your yin yoga practice for today. My name's Kate. I'm going to be guiding you through a half-hour yin session where we're going to be utilising a wall for our support today. So just before we get started, if you have got your yoga mat handy, you're going to bring it over to a wall handy in the house, and some of the props that you might use today would be a yoga block, perhaps if you haven't got a block, use a book, a bolster, and again you can use a couple of cushions off the couch or off the bed, and a little bit of padding for your knee. So I've got a knee pad, but you can use a cushion or a blanket rolled up or something like that for a little later in the practice. So we're going to start today's session with a posture called dangling pose. So what we're going to do is, using the support of the wall, you're going to back yourself up onto the wall, widen the feet out, probably a little bit wider than hip distance. And the reason we're using the wall is because it can get a little fatiguing when we stay in this one for quite a while. So I'm going to get you to bend your knees so you've got soft knees, and just roll yourself forward and just let your arms dangle to the floor. So there are options there if you're quite tight and quite far away from the floor, is to have your bolster out front, and you can rest your forearms on your bolster. So just backing yourself up into that wall, so you know the glutes, the butt is sort of pressing a little into the wall for support. If you didn't use your bolster there out the front and you're just liking the idea of dangling your arms down, you just have them dangling, and with that weight and the gravity of your upper body, it starts to create space. So thinking about space from the heels to the glutes, and then the glutes all the way down the back, through the neck and shoulders. So we're bringing the weight evenly between the heels and the toes, taking a deep breath in through the nose, and as you exhale, just yielding in. Having just a little play around with how straight or how bent you want your knees to get that sensation, and what feels the most supportive for your body. It's getting a nice extra long stretch here into the hamstrings and the glutes. But also, whenever our head is down below our heart, it's really restorative for the heart muscle, and it's extremely beneficial to our brain and the blood flow to the brain. So great for our mental well-being as well. And feeling any tension creeping in, just taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Relaxing the toes, just feeling that even weight through the base of the feet from heel to toe. And if you're feeling like there's any tension in the neck and shoulders, just give the head like a really mild yes and no here, just to release the neck. Good. Now, whether your arms are resting on a prop or your hands are on the floor or dangling, just see if you can kind of walk your fingers into the mat and just press yourself up halfway. Good. Just rolling that prop off to the side, and then just popping a bend into your knees to bring yourself down onto your back. So just nice and gently coming down into your rebound. It's quite an intense opener, that one, for the back line. Quite a strong stretch through the whole back seam of our legs, and a beautiful release for our spine. So it's really nice to just give the body this time to be still. See if you're able to come into that stillness as quickly as you can. All right there, team. So our next shape is, again, using the wall. It's going to be our dragonfly pose or butterfly pose, which is aimed to target the adductors, the inner thighs. So getting into this one can be just a little bit tricky. So I'm going to show you, and you'll keep a prop handy just in case you need it. So a pillow or a block. But you basically bring yourself as close as you can to the wall. So bring your right hip in, extend the legs up the wall, and then just start to turn around. So essentially we want our bottom pretty much touching the wall. So start with that side hip there, and then you shimmy yourself up so your bottom is basically touching the wall. Now you can lift your hips up here and place a bolster or a block under there. Can feel quite relaxing for the back. But then what we're going to do is open up the legs, and now the gravity of the legs sliding outwards is what is going to create that beautiful adductor release, so the fascia of the adductors. So go ahead and just kind of lift the legs off the wall, let them find their place, and then come back into stillness. We want to relax the toes, we want to relax the ankles. The other variation on this one, if having the legs extended is not overly comfortable for you, is to bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet together, and still knees wide. So we're in this reclined butterfly position. So they're your two options, but a really nice supportive release for the adductors. Now the arms can be down by the side. If you want to target a little more into heart and lungs, opening up into chest and shoulders, reach the arms up overhead, and just let the back of the hands fall to the mat, bending the elbows as much as you need to relax into the neck and shoulders. Inhale deeply. Exhale. This one's a really beautiful passive stretch, so we can allow the body to relax whilst we let the wall support us, getting all of the benefits of the pose. So just like having really tight outer thighs, the IT band, which can create a little havoc on the outer knees and the patellar tracking, if your adductors are over tight, we can also get that inner knee pain as well. So really important to sort of balance out the body with all of our modalities of work and rest. Just drawing a nice long deep breath in through the nose and a long deep breath out. You can use your hand to support you here, but you're going to bring your right leg back up to center and just let it come all the way over to the left. So we're swinging our legs out to the left side. You should in essence land on your side. And then you can bring yourself up and over onto your belly into your rebound. So coming down onto your tummy, forehead down on top of the hands or an ear to the mat is fine. And just feeling that release. Alrighty, so lifting the head, hands back under shoulders and just pressing yourself back up. We're going to get really good at this, guys. So bringing the hip into the side wall, lying down, legs up, and then you turn yourself around onto the wall. All right, so this next one we're going to do right and left side while we're here is thread the needle or a reclined half pigeon. So go ahead and bend your left knee so the foot is pressing into the wall. Now you might want to come a little further away from the wall, but just check this out first. So right ankle goes on top of the left thigh. Now, if you're really open, you'll go closer to the wall. If you need more space, shimmy yourself away from the wall. The closer you get to the wall, the more intense that stretch is going to be on this outer right hip. Now, you want to use your right hand here to sort of prop the right knee away, which is going to intensify that stretch, but we don't want to create tension in the shoulder. So if you prop your elbow into the floor and use your hand, or if there's more space there, you can use a block to basically take up that extra space. Relax the toes, relax the shoulders, and relax the lower back into the mat. So often what I find when I offer this one up to runners, because we're quite tight through that whole back chain, that when we go to kind of reach around and hold the back of that left thigh, it's really difficult for us to relax our upper body back down onto the mat. So this is a beautiful way for us to feel more supported, but still get the benefits of the stretch. So you kind of want to prop your right elbow to a place where you can prop it but relax it at the same time. Remember, if you're not feeling the sensation in the outer right hip, then shuffle the bottom a little closer to the wall. Gorgeous. Taking 3 more deep breaths on this right side. And then super slowly releasing that right knee. We'll extend both legs up the wall for a moment, just for a passive rebound. So just both legs up the wall, extending, releasing and relaxing. Legs up the wall is also a really lovely thing to do when you've had a big long day, the legs are aching and you just want to rest. So if you're ever feeling like that, throw yourself down on the floor or on your bed, put your legs up the wall and just allow yourself to completely relax. It's really beneficial for heart and head health. Let's bend that right knee, so sole of the foot is facing the wall. You're at about a 45 degree. Left ankle on top of that right thigh. So this side you may be further away from the wall or closer, see how you go. And then just using that left hand, pressing the left inner thigh away. If you need to use a block to give yourself a bit of extra arm length, go for it. And then just try and sort of prop the elbow into the floor so you're not using too much muscular energy in the upper body. Shouldn't be any pain in the knees here, so if there is, just make sure you come out and readjust a little. Try and relax that lower back into the floor. So the more often we do a yin practice a yin practice, I should say, the better we get at quietening down the mind. So often when we're very busy people and we're very active and we're sort of go, go, go all the time, it's really hard for us to switch off mentally. So this is a really, really great way for us to practice that art of letting go, surrendering, and being okay with just being still. So just a couple more breaths on this side. And then just slowly unhooking that left leg, and you'll go both legs up the wall again, for legs up the wall, just for that nice passive release. And let the legs relax, the arms relax. Inhale, belly rising. Exhale, belly falling. Good, and then just bringing the knees down into the chest, so bending the knees, and just let yourself roll over to your favourite side. Left side is more yin and right side is more yang. So just rolling to whichever side you're feeling drawn to, and then just making your way up to a seat. All right, so this next posture, you are definitely going to need a little bit of padding for your knee. So grab a little cushion off the couch or a blanket or a towel and roll it up. This one's a really nice quad stretch. So what we're going to do for this one is place that padding down quite close to the wall. We're going to get this right leg behind us and place it up the wall behind us. So bring your hands forward, start on all fours, walk the right knee back, foot up the wall. And then bring your left leg forward. Good, that's it, nice. So your right knee goes further back to the wall, obviously the more of a stretch you would like to receive. So just see how you feel first. Make sure you've got that padding under the knee. You want to try not to be on the kneecap itself, but it's more sort of at the very bottom of the quad, so you're not putting too much pressure on that patella. Now, when you're ready, you can either bring your hands down to the mat. You can definitely have blocks here. So if you've got those blocks or books handy, you can have your blocks out front and lean into these. Additionally, you can just lean on your thigh. But can you really surrender into that hip? So kind of lean into it, lean into that right hip flexor. You want to feel the stretch into the psoas, but also down the front of that thigh. So a really deep quad stretch. And then if you stack your wrists under your shoulders, so you've got nice long straight arms, you can just drop in and close your eyes here. And deep breath in through the nose and deep breath out. So if any of you during your day spend a lot of time in a seated position, Perhaps you do a lot of bike riding, a lot of running, a lot of sitting behind the wheel, sitting behind a desk. Means that we sort of sit in this shortened state in our hip flexors, which can create a lot of havoc on our low back. This awesome quad stretch / hip flexor stretch is really, really awesome for stretching out that area. So when we release the hip flexors, we release the low back, and that can obviously give us a lot more freedom. Also a bit of a heat building pose. So if you're starting to feel a bit irritated, starting to feel that heat building, just take a nice long deep breath in and sigh it out. Deep breath in. Notice how with every exhale, there's that ability to go just a little bit deeper. Alrighty, just 3 more breaths here. We've got this. Deep breath in. Dropping in, feeling that deep stretch. Alrighty, so super, super slow. Just start to tilt the pelvis back towards the wall just to take the pressure out of the thigh and the hip flexor. Step that left leg in, so knee to the mat, and then just bring your right leg off to the side. Good. So what you might want to do after that one, just getting into those hips, is actually just to stand back up and just take another little mini dangling pose. So just let yourself relax. You can bend into the knees, make it nice and juicy, and maybe even drop down into a yogi squat a couple of times. So just dropping the hips down towards the mat, squeezing them back up, hips towards the mat, and hips back up. Good. Alrighty, so grab that padding that you had on your right knee, place it more towards the left side this time. Use your blocks or hands on the floor, and just start by bringing that left knee down onto your padding, and your foot is untucked on the wall. Right foot steps forward. See how you go on this side. It may feel a little different. And then you've got your props, whether you're using your blocks or maybe a couple of pillows or just the floor. Again, you can improvise with things around the home. So if you haven't got blocks handy and you need to keep your torso a little more upright, just go ahead and grab a chair from the kitchen table and place it out front, and you can use that as your prop. You might just lean yourself forward onto that and relax there. Otherwise, you can place your forearms on your knee. But just see if you can really drop in this time to that left hip flexor. Joint stack, elbows, wrists, shoulders. Relax the neck and shoulders. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Remember, if the mind begins to wander, it's really good at kind of trying to take us away from our practice of being still. You just come back to your breath, your breathing. Count your inhales, count your exhales, and try and bring yourself back into this moment. Feeling what you feel. If the heat is building and you're starting to feel a little agitated, it's time to take a deeper breath in. Sigh it out through the mouth, let it go. Good. The best part is about your yin practice is that although at times it may not be the most comfortable thing you've ever done, you're definitely going to feel a lot better for it afterwards. Let's take 3 more breaths here on this left side. And dropping in a little bit deeper. Beautiful, and then very slowly just rock the hips back towards the wall a little to release the hip and release the thigh. Drop your right knee to the floor, bring your left knee forward to meet. And then the good news, guys, just propping your props out of the way. And we're going to come into our final Shavasana. So come down onto your back. Remember, if you want to place the bolster under your knees, that can be a really nice restorative way to relax into that final Shavasana. Otherwise, just extending the body along the mat, widening out the feet to the edges of the mat, perhaps widening the arms as the palms face the sky, and then just pressing into the back of the head to shuffle the shoulders down slightly. Nice, soft, gentle curl of the fingers. And relaxing into the toes. Drawing a deep breath in through your nose. And a long breath out. I'm going to leave you in your final Shavasana if you have the time. As always, I encourage you to stay for at least another 10 breaths, maybe even longer. Hope you've enjoyed your yin practice with the support of the wall today. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.